That was quite the game. Honestly, a great game came out of nowhere. That being said, Justin Volek, highly suspect he will not be available for the quarterfinal game for the Germans. But there's a quarterfinal game for the Germans. So let's get into how we get there. And as you can see, I'm wearing the Team Europe jersey from the World Cup of Hockey. I don't have a Team Germany jersey. So as a result, I've got this one, which was perfect because I don't have a Swiss jersey either. So you were getting this one no matter who won. But the Sens hat is because this was the Stutzla show. Now, I posted on Twitter, and I'm going to say this at the start. Do not make a drinking game out of that man's name. I don't want to be responsible for anybody getting seriously hurt or ending up needing medical attention. 5 players returned to the German lineup, you could tell. The Swiss had to win this in regulation. And as this game got really late, I thought, as much fun as this is, they have to win in regulation or they're out. Winning in overtime would have done nothing for them other than some pride, right? It was Faton versus Bugle, and no Biasca in there for the Swiss. Now, Biasca scored a goal earlier in this tournament, and he got knocked out during the Canadian game. So he was out. 14 seconds in, the Swiss get a power play. It did not have prime chances. There were a couple of shots, and the shots will tell you that the Swiss controlled this game, and on some level, maybe, but there's a guy. And at 4 minutes and 38 seconds, he's involved. A goal is scored by Peterka from Eliash and Stutzla. Get used to those 3 together. And Eliash looks fantastic. Here's the thing. Is Eliash that good? Or is it just he's playing with Peterka and Stutzla? That's the question mark. Wraparound goal. That one. Nice one. The shots were 7-3 for the Swiss at 9 minutes. And as I'm writing this, then it's 2-0 as Stutzla gets a goal from, that's right, Eliash and Peterka at 9 minutes and 8 seconds. So that was their 4th shot, and that was their 2nd goal. I didn't think Faton had his best game for the Swiss in this one. Now, that was challenged as offside. Now, it counts. Now, if you were watching this on the replay, you would be forgiven for thinking it was offside. These are the ones that confused even longtime NHL viewers. In fact, myself, the first time I saw one of these, I was like, oh, okay. So you can proceed the puck into the zone if they say you have control of the puck. Now, that's the thing. As he's crossing the line, he had control of the puck, but then the puck deflects off the Swiss defender. And so it's one of those ones that I thought, this could go either way. But when it's not decisive, when it's not clear-cut, you have to go with the call on the ice. The call on the ice was a goal. So that gives Germany a power play. Bugle made a shorthanded save during that power play, a power play which had no shots. So they're up 2-0, but that German power play wasn't able to get things going. There was 4 minutes left. The Germans get another power play. It turned into a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 21 seconds, which I put ouch on the board for because the German power play has been very good because Stutzla, Peterka, Eliash, those 3 together. And hey, look at that. It's 3-0 with 17-16 of the first period. It's Peterka's power play goal from Stutzla and Eliash. As I'm sure Faton was thinking, if those guys weren't playing, this game would be a lot closer. Stutzla then takes a penalty late. The Swiss have to score. And I'm like, okay, so I'm putting his name on the board a lot. So we start the second period. The first note of the second period. Peterka, Stutzla, 2-on-1, and it almost connected. Very close. So right out of the gate to start the second period, Peterka, Stutzla, together. And I'm sorry, but I know people are going to say, hey, there's no guarantee they'd have that magic in the NHL. I just wish they had that chance. I really wish they had that chance to play together. Now, early German power play, Stutzla's drawing penalties as well. So most of the penalties involve Stutzla, either a Swiss player trying to hold him down. In that case, it was Fiedler, I believe, in that one. Or he's taking the penalties for Germany. So they couldn't set up that power play. The Swiss pressure at 4 minutes. Stutzla almost had a break. But that was headed off. The best Swiss chances are at 6.5 minutes. A great arm save by Bugle. Although the Swiss also missed an empty net, which comes back to haunt them. You look at some of the close calls they had in these first 2 periods. They had no way of knowing, right? So 3 penalties were then called at the exact same time. 2 of them are against the Swiss, 1 against the Germans, which I thought was a bit excessive. Some of these games have been like, really, you're calling that, you're calling all of that, huh? Interesting. All right, cool. So yeah, 3 penalties that quickly after a solid PK. The Swiss get their chances at the half. Stutzla then takes a penalty, so the Swiss go to the power play. And I put on the board, no drinking games for saying his name in the review, you'll die. So I'm only saying medical attention, but what I wrote on the board was, you'll die. So, please, I know tomorrow night's New Year's. I know people are excited, but please, no. Just no. Faton then made some solid saves during that power play. Swiss take a penalty. It's 4-on-4 for 47 seconds. But the Germans with a power play, it's Stutzla from Peterka at 13-19. So now Stutzla has 2 goals to go with 2 assists. He's having a pretty good game. He's playing pretty well. Faton then denied Eliash's attempt to get it to 5-0, so it stays at 4-0. Eliash then takes a penalty to give the Swiss another power play. And the Swiss webcam shows that the fans look unhappy at home. And I don't blame them. It's one of those things where it's like, all right, we're going to show your webcam. Why? We're losing 4-0. Why? Okay, yay. Do the happy dance. You think of basketball. Do the happy dance. Do the happy dance. All right, so third period, early chance for Germany. Stutzla draws another Fiedler penalty. So Fiedler having all kinds of trouble trying to keep him reined in. That's their 7th power play in the game. They were 2 for 6 to that point. Kanak had a shorthanded chance for the Swiss. German penalty. And the Swiss go to the power play to try to get a goal. Bugle playing very well. But the Swiss do get on the board. It's Delamont that gets a goal, and there was some debate about whether or not somebody tipped it in front. This goal may be changed. But it's Delamont with the goal, credited from Allensbach and Dollar at 9 minutes and 59 seconds. Looks like Daler to me. It's pronounced Dollar. Okay, who knew? And then Dollar gets another goal less than a minute later. And I didn't think that was a great one. It's one of those ones that just comes out in front, and Dollar takes the shot, and Bugle really needs to stop that one. So that makes it 4-2 with 9 minutes left. This is suddenly a game. Here comes the Swiss. Germany, clearly a one-line team. So when the other 3 lines are on the ice, I thought the Swiss were the better team. But every time Eliash, Stutzla, Peterka get on the ice, every time they're out there, totally different teams. So this German team's one line. I think they know it, and I think they've accepted it. Why not? It's a winning formula so far for them. So they pulled the goalie with 3 minutes left, and Peterka hits the empty net, and it's an empty net goal from Stutzla at 17:39 that gives him the hat trick to go with 2 assists. So 5 points. Notice Stutzla, 5 points. They're in on every single goal. This is not a coincidence. This is not a drill. And then Volek. I don't know what the hell Volek's thinking here. Really dangerous hit. 5-minute penalty. He's going to get suspended for the quarterfinal game. Way to go. And I watched that and I thought, this could explode. And I'm going to say straight right now, if he had done that, and if this was an NHL game, you would have seen a line brawl of some sort. Now, I say of some sort because I'm not talking like your 80s, 90s line brawls with Gino Ogic without a shirt challenging everybody. I'm talking about like the kind of fight that we see very rarely in hockey where everybody wants to basically get at Volek. So, dangerous hit. Thankfully, the guy who got hit stayed in the game and he was okay. And I believe it was Meyer that gets hit. And he gets the goal on the power play to make it 5-3 from Allensbach at 18-14. But this is where it gets interesting. Now they're down 5-3, but they have to win in regulation if they want to stay in this tournament. They cannot lose. They cannot lose, and they cannot win in overtime. Overtime gets you 2 points, and it would get the Germans 1 point if they lost in overtime. It doesn't do them any good. But they score again on that power play at 19:34. It's Kanak from Meyer and Barragano. So that made it 5-4, and that was posting in. I didn't think that goal was one that Bugle should be allowing either. I have some questions here. I know that Tefensi had his issues in this tournament, but while Bugle is their starter, I don't know how much of an upgrade I see him over Tefensi, but again, He's likely going to be the goaltender for the quarterfinal matchup, and they may get a tough quarterfinal matchup. It depends on how Slovakia ends this tournament and all that. So we'll see. And then in that last 20 seconds, Stützle would clear it with about 10 seconds left, and Germany just hangs on to a 5-4 win. So this was a great game. It was a great game that shouldn't have been, and it's because Volek decided he was going to do something stupid, and he gets 5 in a game, and it definitely allowed the Swiss to get into it. Really fired them up. So the shots favored the Swiss through the whole game. 9-7 in the first, 13-10 in the second, 13-8 in the third. Final shots, 35-25 in favor of the Swiss. I'm willing to bet of those 25 shots, half of them belong to that top line for the Germans. I'm willing to say, yeah, at least 13 of those shots would have been from that top line. That was fantastic. And so a German team that's never been in the quarterfinals, now is in the quarterfinals. And they have to feel pretty good about how the last 2 games have gone. They beat the Slovaks. Now, they beat Switzerland. It's a start. This is a start for Germany. You can take that loss against Canada and you can kick that aside. Say, that's fine, no big deal. You can take that loss to Finland and say, hey, we only lost by 2 to Finland. And we were, down to 3 lines and 5 defensemen. So there's a reason to be kind of nervous about playing against Germany, whoever ends up playing against them out of that other group. Because they've already done it. They've reached the quarterfinals. This could be a dangerous team in the quarterfinals. Faton, 20 saves on 24 shots. Bugle, 31 saves on 35 shots. Because of the goal scored on the power play by the Swiss, Peterka's empty net goal was actually your winner. Just imagine if he misses that empty net, Volek throws that hit, and we go into overtime. Just the chaos that would have created. Player of the game, Dollar for the Swiss, and Peterka for Germany. Now, here's the interesting thing. Now, I've got SUI here, because that's always how it is on scoreboards, right? Even though in English it's Switzerland. Now I understand Suisse, SUISSE, but the weird thing is we put SUI for Switzerland, and yet it's GER for Germany, even though it's Deutschland in German. So I don't understand if we're going to do the Swiss spelling here. Why don't we do Deutschland? It's one of those things I see on the scoreboard. I'm like, why are they doing that? And yet NHL Network misspelled Switzerland today. They put an extra E in it. Switzerland, I believe they had, and for Russia, they just put country name. So kudos to the NHL Network. I haven't made that mistake, and I work by myself in a basement. So there you go. Hey, Germany's going to the quarterfinals, and for the Swiss, that's hard luck. That's hard luck for the Swiss. Because after that Volek hit, I got to admit, I was thinking, I kind of want the Swiss to come back in this, and they almost did. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.